in neutral. You went in saying exactly what Debbie said to David. I'm just going to share this information. Whatever you want to do with it is up to you. But I get, you know, you really cared enough to share it with them. That was probably your biggest shift.
Yeah, and they must have felt it. I mean, because for the most part, people really genuinely know I'm reaching out. It's nothing like, yeah. Well, thank you.
But I have to say one thing, Joyce, and I told you this earlier today. I'm going to tell you. I told you I was going to share.
I know.
Weeks ago, this is a woman who says to me, I can't imagine why anybody would ever want to buy an entrepreneur pack. That's so ridiculous. I can't even fathom this. And here she is selling it like hotcakes. So just saying, you never know when the shift is going to come.
Hey, it's about belief. If you believe what you're doing is helpful to somebody, it's much easier to convey that. And I love watching the twin sisters go back and forth here. All right, so because I've seen the shift, and you know, we always say the two things you need to do to be successful in this is motivated and coachable. And so you're very motivated now, and when you disconnect from the response of a person, it makes it so much easier. It's like you're bringing them value. If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they get it. They don't. And you had who was on Val last night on the team call you had last night? You introduced.
Yeah, and she actually also joined your call tonight. I saw.
Yeah.
And I have two other people. I have Nicole, the other woman you met tomorrow. She has an in-home. She has 5 people coming in home, and I think another 5 or 6 attending via Zoom. And then Jeanette's been helping me with Kaylee, who, thank you, Deb. Jackie helped yesterday, and so she's
incredible.
Hey, Jackie. And so she's a 25-year-old who's just on fire and just beyond excited. So she's also already contacting people. So it's pretty fun to see it. Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. So Tatiana's going a different route. So where there's a will, there is a way. And I know Jackie is doing this as well, and Alyssa and Danielle Matthews are doing it, but Tatiana is going a different route, but it's getting results. I mean, Tatiana, what's been your shift in this, and what are you doing now? Because you're in the zone, and you weren't before. Now you are.
I couldn't figure it out before, but I was very, very determined. I'm going to tell you, Joyce and I have one very big thing in common. The greatest salesman in the world. I am going to be starting Scroll 4 tomorrow. So that's exactly what I started doing after I listened to him. I'm like, shit, if that Scroll 1 says that I'm going to read each scroll every single day, 3 times a day. So I don't listen to it 3 times a day, but it's the first thing I listen to when I get up, go for my walk. And it's the last thing I listen to when I go to bed. I choose one scroll for the entire month, and I move on to the next and to the next. And actually, I read the second scroll, and I've been reading the second scroll for a very long time. Trish Swinkler reads the second scroll every single day. So this is actually one of her things that she has posted on her stuff, and I think I must have printed it out maybe about a year ago or so. And I said to myself, all right, success leaves clues. I figured, all right, if this lady said that this is what she's doing, I'm printing it out, and I tracked it down. I printed it out. It's nice and wrinkly right now, but I love it wrinkly because it shows the value that I've been reading it. But yeah, so she's actually been reading this every single day, the second scroll, which is I greet each day with love in my heart. And I have to tell you, that scroll has given me a lot of strength to get through the hard times. And I've had some hard times. And so just sending the people love, that even people that say no to you. I started with really focusing on social media. And Debbie is actually in the same group that I'm in. And I'm like, Debbie, you're in here too.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And so what I read this book called the One Thing, The Compounding Effect, and then The One Thing. Really great books. And the one thing is really to focus on what is that one thing that you can do every single day that brings you closer to your goal. And when I read it, I started asking myself that question every single day. And I came to a very quick decision, which is I have to do the blitz that Fraser Brooks teaches. And it's exhausting, guys, because it's very easy to do in 30 minutes, but it's very hard to catch up with all the messages and responses. So I just said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to do it and let's see what happens. And so that's what I started doing. I comment and like on 10 people every single day. Then I find new 10 people every single day. And then I ask my question. I don't care who they are. I don't care if we've had a conversation or not before. If you're on my friends list, I'm just going to go ahead and pop that question because I have to tally up my no's. So I need some people to give me some no's. And what happens is there's actually people that say yes to me. And that's kind of what's been doing the shift is like, I just know I have to do this one thing every single day, which is those 10, 10, 10.
What's the question? Sorry. What's the question?
Here, I'll send you the question. David didn't like this question because he started asking a lot of questions when I.
I want to hear that, but also I want you to share with me that the shift that you had, because we were talking to one of your people that was signing up yesterday. I was on the golf course and we were doing a 3-way, and you said, "What are you doing?" You said you used to look for sick people, and you don't do that anymore.
Yes, that's a huge shift. That's very good that you caught that because I guess we were talking. So a lot of people, they have a tendency, and this is exactly what I did when I got into social media. I started joining groups where everybody, peripheral neurology, neuropathy and joint replacements and chronic pain and all those great pain groups. Here's the problem. When a person goes into that group, they are focusing to talk about their pain. When you go into a group where there's alternative healing, alternative remedies, you're going to find people that are looking for a solution. And so for me, I found that shift of get away from all the pain groups and all the sickness groups and the insomnia groups and all of that. Get away from the people that want to talk about their illness and get into the groups where people want to learn about natural remedies. That was a very, very big shift. Also, I'm focusing on everybody that,
But life coaches too. I mean, you're not just focusing on, you're focusing on relationships. I mean, you mentioned it to her. You said what you're doing. How did you word that?
A lot of people are focusing on I'm not focusing on the product. I'm not focusing on the business. I'm focusing on making friends. And that's really what I'm doing. And I'm actually letting people prospect me. And the only way to do that is to get them on a call. So I let them vent and talk and explain their passions and learn a little bit about them. And I give them 30 minutes and then I say, I have another call. And they're like, but wait, you didn't say anything about your business. And I'm like, well, we're going to leave that for another time because I never talk about my business. My job is to just connect with people. But I'd love to be able to share with you what I'm passionate about. And that's it. And then I get into Messenger and I ask their permission to plug them into a Facebook group. I never just plug anybody in. I always ask them for permission. So it allows that yes. You know, are you still open to, will you be open to taking a look at what I'm doing as well? Yes. We'll have may I have your permission to plug you into our private community? Yes. It's like, I want them to give me 3 yeses before I plug them in. And that's really, my goal is to get them on the call with me, talking to me as a friend and as a person.
And you plug them into a See a Healthy Self, correct?
And then at the end of the conversation, when they say, wait, I didn't learn about what you're doing.
Right.
Because my goal is not to talk about me. It's to get them to talk about them and then be curious, well, what is it that you're doing?
Well, it's Stephen Covey, seek first to understand before being understood. And you're collecting a lot of information when you ask questions.
Except when I talk to you, I get so nervous and you ask me, well, where are they from? I'm like, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. They're on Facebook.
Do you know something about them? I'm like, no. Can you ask them?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. You know what? People say,
David.
What, Jeanette?
I was wondering what the question was. I don't think I ever saw what question she talked about.
Let me go ahead. Oh.
Does Joyce not have a chair to sit on?
Right,
No.
I'm sitting down on the floor. Yeah, I'm in a bedroom.
Remember she's in a cardboard box, remember?
Exactly.
This is a Murphy bed that's just somebody's desk that I hang out in. So, you know. But it's San Jose. Come on, it's beautiful here.
You put the question in the chat.
See how motivated Joyce is?
She's not that destitute, everyone. Please do not feel pity for her.
Anyhow.
So she put the question in the chat bar if you guys are interested.
Tatiana, I have a question. So are all of the people that you're connecting with, these are friends of friends? Or these are people that you don't know?
I don't know any of them from Adam. Never met any of these people before. I have pretty much everybody that I've signed up since December, which I really went on a freeze. I stopped signing and prospecting or doing anything from, I think from
Would
the
you like to
beginning of
watch
January until was it March or April. And somewhere in April, all of a sudden I had a huge shift and I said, just do it. And I started putting it into action, and all of a sudden I started signing people up. So I'm averaging about one person a week.
That's 52 people a year.
I'm getting there.
The average
But I've got 2 directors, 300s, 1 director, 700.
Oh yeah.
And 3 people that are experienced in network marketing. They're already seeing results.
No, it's
That's
pretty
great.
amazing. It is pretty amazing. And like I say, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, what was your response with people when you were doing Warm Market for you? I mean, most people build it through Warm Market, but what was your results with Warm Market?
My mom said no to me for 6 months. I can't get any warmer than that.
She said no to your father for 6 months. Then she said yes, and then you were born.
This is pretty much yep. This is it. I mean, I am actually, I have a chicken list and I have in my mind family, friends, and members to approach. But here's what my goal is. My goal is to get up to a certain amount of income where I can say, hey, listen, this is my full-time future. This is how much I'm making. You should really take a look at this. So I want to create that strong credibility, and I'm doing it through strangers before I get into family. But family, I'm really just completely backed off from them. I won't even consider of going to my chicken list or talking to family.
Awesome. Thanks, Tatiana. And Jennifer, why don't you share? You've got some other things that you're doing.
Can y'all see? Okay, hi.
Hey.
So I started talking about this because of Amy Stacy. We've been talking about this, and I was at Whole Foods the other day, and everybody has the masks on and they're worried about that. But this woman had this beautiful like wrap kimono on, and she had her mask on and it kind of blended along with her earrings. And I was like, that is so amazing. You look so great. I love how that blends. And we got to talk about it. She goes, yeah, I like this, but I don't like my neck. I don't like how it looks. I said, hold on. So we walk out of the restroom and I start telling her about this. And so tomorrow we're meeting for her to buy a tube after I explained everything. And that was about 5 days ago. I said, let me know if you want them. But everybody is feeling very left out right now. They're very, nobody's being touched, hugged, and complimented. So one of the things I always found is always have a compliment, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your sandals. I used to have those way back and I missed those because they were so comfortable. Where did you find those? But it's a genuine thing. It's always genuine that I find something about somebody, but it's the compliment, because nobody's feeling complimented anymore with what's going on. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, to connect with anybody.
That's awesome. Yep. It's true. Yeah. People are longing for it right now. Anything you can do to connect with somebody, you know, it's complimenting, it's asking questions, not jumping into what you've got, but let them talk. That's great, Jennifer. Does anybody else have something they want to share that's working for them?
Well, I don't know that it's working right in the moment, but it was working, and I'm glad Joyce shared with us about her phone calls, because I'm kind of stuck right now with making phone calls seem to be the way I was going before, and I had like, I don't know, 6 or 8 people, and then I was managing all of that, and now I'm trying to do the same thing over by messaging. And I'm not having the same kind of luck. I am getting some positive responses. It's just taking longer. I get frustrated because the phone calls do take time, because I do want to build that rapport. And like Joyce said, it's people, gosh, some of them I haven't even talked to in 20 years, but it's like that relationship is still there enough to be able to get into something. And so I just don't, I'm like, I wish I had all the hours to do those kind of calls, but that seems to be where I'm getting stumped now. Because I don't want that to be the only way. You know, it's like I can't make 5 hours a day of phone calls with 5 people, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm trying a lot of different things. I don't think I've just found that flow yet. So that's part of the frustration I'm kind of up against in the moment. But I don't know if anybody.
Debbie might answer that a little bit, because Debbie had no time at all. She did this on 20 minutes a day, and Debbie had her back against the wall. I mean, she had to make this work, and so she had literally 20 minutes a day. Debbie, what did you do?
Well, I just kept it short and sweet, basically, and said, hi, I'm just calling because, and I don't have very long. It's like the Eric Worre book. I don't have very long because I really didn't. So I think if you say that, they understand why you get right to the point. And it was either a message or I caught them in person. Either way, I said that same thing. I don't have very long. I'm in between breaks, but I've learned about something extraordinary that is, I mean, you could use some of Alan Noble's technology, whatever feels good to you, 10 to 15 years ahead of its time. There hasn't been a health challenge yet. You know, it's a true breakthrough, you know, anything you want to say in the health field. I can't explain it very well. And I really care about you. Would you take the time to watch a video? And now I would send probably the 13-minute video, which is the one I watched basically. And then I will call you to answer your questions, and I will have somebody on who can answer your questions. I am not a scientific expert, and you will see why I'm having somebody else on the phone. They're all like, okay, great. And not one of them said no. And these were people I cared about and knew. And some of them were some that I kept a regular basis with, and some of them were, I hadn't talked to them in a really long time. But I just said, you know, you've been part of my life for a really long time, and we haven't talked, and I'd love to catch up at some point. But right now, I just want to tell you about this because I'm trying to tell everybody I love and care about. So if you say it that way, and you make sure if you do get them live, you've got to go. You've got an appointment coming up, but you're really trying to squeeze things in because you want to get to all the people you love and care about. Because I literally had one guy said, "You've been doing this for 4 months and you're just now calling me?" And I went, "I just got to the S's in my phone. I'm really sorry." So he finally laughed, but I mean, you know, he was like pissed that I hadn't called him right away. So if you're making it that important, they'll kind of get it and say, you know, I don't care what you do with this. I mean, you can take it away. I'm not expecting you to buy, or, you know, if you feel badly about that, I'm not expecting you to buy it, but I just really want you to know about this.
There's something you want to get across to people when you call them, and that is that you care. Number 2, you want them to know about it, but you don't need them to know about it. It's very important to have
Right.
that you feel obligated to tell them. You want them to know. You don't need them to know, and to save time, because if you spend an hour on the phone with somebody, you're not modeling properly, because they're going to think, I may buy the product, but I can't do this business. I can't call people for an hour. So what you do is you say, I've got a hard stop, whether you do or not. If you're talking at 3:00, you say, listen, are you good? Yeah, listen, I have a hard stop at 3. I have another person I'm following up with who's having remarkable results with what I'm going to talk to you about. So just put it out there that, number 1, you got to stop. Number 2, you're talking to a lot of other people, whether there's somebody there or not, big deal. You want them to know that you're busy, you're doing it, it's happening, whether they're in or not. And that's it's a good feeling when you do that, because you know when the end, you can see when you're going to stop. It doesn't have to go on forever. You've conveyed that you don't need them to know about it, and you've created curiosity and get in the conversation, you know?
Yeah, it was like I said with Joyce. I'm glad she brought that up, because these are people that I haven't talked to, some of them in 20 years. And so the the time frame is maybe 10 minutes is devoted to to Sia. The rest of it is getting back in relationship. And so I'm hearing that I don't need to do all of that.
Well, I think you've got to reconnect, but you can say something like say, look, I'm going to tell you why I called you after all these years, because I'm getting through to everybody I've ever met. It's that important. But tell me what's going on with you. So you dropped it out there that you're going to bring something up, and it's just, you've been talking to the people you're still connected with. Now you're getting to the people that you haven't seen in 10 or 20 years. But you dropped it, you kind of put it out there so they know it's coming,
Yeah. And David, that is what happened. So people knew I was calling with an intention, and they would catch up first, and they'd say, so what is it that you want me to consider? I mean, so it was a natural flow into the conversation. One thing I did incorporate, it just made me think of it. I do like Mousewort. I am a business person, so I don't come necessarily from the medical side. So I do love the fact that I will tell them my numbers might be off, but they get the gist. In 2017, we did 72 million. 2019, we did almost 180 million. And I'm looking for very ambitious people or people who want to supplement their income. And with everything going on today, and almost everybody agreed. They're like, wow, that's amazing growth. And so that excites my friends who are in more business, and they love that idea. So that's also gotten people to look at it. Because now they know we all know what's going on in the business world. It's a bit of a mess. And to actually have a company that's growing, they like that too. So I do like Mouseword's line. I incorporate that, if that helps.
But Belinda, I would choose one person a day that you really want to catch up with, and you can spend extra time with them. The rest of them, I would just say, listen, I would love to catch up with you, but I'm gonna have to do it another time. I've really just got 10 minutes right now, but I'm really trying to get to a lot of people. And you are one that I really care about. And they'll understand. Then just say, if you're leaving a message or if you're talking to them in person, just say, so when would you be available to catch up? I have time this weekend or whatever. That kind of thing.
Good approach. I like that, Deb.
Thanks, Deb. That was good.
Because you won't have time to catch up with everybody. You're right. You'd be on the phone for 5 hours. That'd be
I'm
a lot.
pasting. Oh, did it come through? Yeah, I just pasted something into the chat bar that, let's see if it all came through or not. Gosh, I hope it did. Things that I think
excellent trainings.
It just says excellent trainings.
What's that?
It just says excellent trainings, and then there's a colon.
There.
Oh.
Did it come through?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so take a look at some of those things. Those are all in my phone. I have it in a file. And when someone has an issue and I'm like, I go, I know a good training for you. It's a tool. I just go and I pop it over, but you can see what the titles of those are. It might be helpful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, the Terry Latham one didn't come through. Let me put that in at the end there.
I want to say something. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this call is very helpful for me because I hit home with that, and one of the things that wasn't working for me was just not being vulnerable, because I have been so sick for so long, and it's not something that I talk about with people because I own a business, because I'm in health, because I'm all of that. I didn't realize I'm 3 weeks into the product, and I literally feel like I have a new body, like I have a new life. Like I can't even explain the depth. I didn't even realize the price, all of the prices that I had been paying in my life. And I guess the illusion of the life that I was showing, because I was didn't want, I'm helping people, that I don't want to look broken to people and make it about me. And I lived with 10 symptoms a day, from so much pain to headaches every day, and not being able to get pregnant, not being able to have a period, and chronic fatigue and brain fog. And it was just so much stuff. And then I would find something and then it would work. And so right now it's just like each week that goes by, I'm just so hungry, and I just feel like I'm waking up. Like even when I was on the phone with David trying to join the 90-day blitz, I didn't even know how to talk about, I didn't even complete my vision. Like I didn't even realize, and I'm a dreamer. So it was such good feedback to me of how much I'd stopped, and I was just surviving. And I got my parents on it and my little brother on it. And my mom has been sick like me for 14 years, and her second day into the product. I don't know if it's because of the homeostasis and the nervous system, getting the body into that parasympathetic mode. If that's why it's working so well with fibromyalgia and those stuff, because it's just like, I'm in awe. My little brother, he's 11, and he goes, I was like talking to my mom about how we can talk to our friends back home, and he was like, I can take it to the playground. I can tell all my friends, they break their ankle at basketball and stuff like that. And it's just like, I really wanted to experience the depth of it in my home and with my family. And now I'm just like, okay, now how can I make all this work and share it and really be real with the people that I care about, with where I've been and how it's helped me and where my life is today. And in fact, 2 weeks into the product, I started my period. And typically I only get it once a year. And when I get it, it feels like I'm giving birth. This sounds really awful, but to my colon and to my uterus all at the same time. And it is extremely painful. And I started my period last week, and I just ended last night. And I didn't use any medication, nothing. And so anyways, I will stop because there really is so many different things that are happening each day. But now, looking back, I'm beginning to have more of a hindsight versus kind of in the middle of everything, and just want to be more coachable and learn from everybody and just kind of get more used to that business aspect of the company.
Well, I'll just say this, Karina. You know what? It's an emotional thing when someone has got issues and they get better. I mean, I see Lisa shaking her head right now with herself and her father's stroke and everything else. And sometimes it takes a little while for it to get in you. I mean, you got in and you were excited. You have a business where you can certainly do well with it just because of your business, but you got in, but now it's getting into you, and you start realizing how important it is. And that'll come through when you talk to people. And, having belief in the product for most people is extremely important. And some people will get to the point where they're ready to rock by putting the gel on 10 people. Some are excited about that, but then it hits you that this is everything you've heard. Nobody's exaggerating. And my God, I need to bring it to everybody. So what, the point about getting to the point where, like Tatiana was saying, the books that she's reading, and Edwina Lee in Singapore, same thing. She knew nothing about network marketing, but she started reading books, and she was tying into everything. And she made it. She's her own person. I mean, she's not copying anybody. She's her own person. She made it herself. But if you want to be really, really good at this, it's not so much the product knowledge. It's learning how to talk to people and how to address their needs and how to find leaders. That's what you're looking for. And the leaders come, they may be leaders as they come in or they develop, but you need to plug them into the system so that hopefully they become leaders of leaders, and you can kind of back out. And that's what you really want to do. Debbie can give you her perspective.
Well, I was going to ask Karina, and I will give you my perspective, but Karina, you weren't on our Zoom when we introduced ourselves, and I've got notes about everybody. Would you mind telling us, and maybe you've done this on another Zoom. I've tried to be on all the Zooms, I think. Could you tell me your story?
Yeah, she wasn't on the very first one. She's in
No.
Hawaii, so the hours
Right.
are bad.
I know that. So obviously you don't have a period, and you were trying to get pregnant also, and you hadn't been successful?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, I just hit like a depression drop.
Okay.
when I was in college. Lived out here in Hawaii, and I got into frequency and microcurrent clinic, and I got off my medication. So then I held on to that form of therapy, and then I got into the business, and I opened up a small clinic in Hawaii helping people with pain. And then 5 months later, right when I started doing more emotional healing for past trauma, I started to get fibromyalgia symptoms. At the time, my emotional healers were saying your body is just manifesting those memories. So then I was like, okay, I'll just keep doing emotional clearing, and I'll just keep doing this therapy because it's helping me. But then the symptoms got worse, and I would get new symptoms, and then some would go away, and then I would have days where I felt better. And then it got to the point a couple months ago where I was living with on and off with about 10 different symptoms. And I went to a couple different doctors, and they didn't want to. It was so weird. Some of them did my blood work, and they would look at the blood work and they'd be like, well, nothing major is happening, so maybe just get off of dairy or gluten. And it was like, I was like debilitating, but nobody was giving me answers. So that really drove me to take my clinic to the next level. So I started to talk to wellness doctors in my area that were into holistic ways. And I have about 3 different doctors that I'm beginning to open the doors with to come join my clinic, and using this time to build relationships and partnerships. And then a SIA came in my life. Blood work came in, and a doctor from Spain opened the door and was like, hey, your kidney's failing, your liver's failing, you have hyperthyroid, you're anemic, you have very, very low white blood cell, you really shouldn't be around people right now. You literally have a toxicity inflammation problem in all of your major systems in your body. And so I continued with my Hawaiian healers and doing emotional clearing, and then a CA came in, and it's almost like that. ASEA just took everything to the next level and really penetrated the cells. And I think that I've been doing a lot of things that almost prepared my body to receive, which is why I think things happen to me so quickly, because I literally feel like like somebody gave me a new body. There's just one symptom that I'm working with, and it's spasming. I have spasms that come down my spine and in my muscles. So I'm not too sure what that is, but I honestly do not have the money to go chase neurologists and different stuff right now. So I take 2 cups of ASEA in the morning, 2 in the evening, and then 4 ounces in the morning, 4 ounces in the evening. And my budget is actually changing for the better. So I want to jump on the 16 to double what I'm doing. And I used to need the gel all over my body. And after the first week and a half, I don't need to.
Well, maybe it would help your spasms. I know people have had a lot of really good results rubbing it all down their spine several times a day. Amazing results with that. So maybe that would help.
Okay, do you know what's wild?
What?
Is that, okay, so, ¿cómo se dice? A flare-up. I would get a flare-up, and that could be from food or stress or something, and it's like I could be normal, and then boom, todos, like it would all come all at once. Mm-hmm. I have only had 1 flare-up, and it happened after my first week, and it lasted 5 minutes because I took the drink and I put the gel on my throat, because David said put it on your throat, put it on your neck, put it on your low abdomen and my low back, and my neuropathy symptoms are gone. But literally, I lasted 3 hours working on getting my company website launched. I was able to complete that task and last for 3 hours, working until 1 a.m. after that flare-up. And I have not had 1 flare-up since that. It's been 3 weeks.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Wow. No, that's great. That's amazing. It's quite a story. Anyway, I've had a couple of people that have used it down their spine for spasms and other things, and it really seems to work. I don't know, it probably gets back into the spinal fluid and all that kind of stuff to help with all that. So anyway, that might be your last thing to work on. And I'm just overwhelmed. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
an amazing story. I don't know if anybody wants, I typed it up for my other group. I'm not sure I typed it up. I typed up everybody's, a little bit about everybody. Would everybody like that if I typed it up and sent it out? It's all this group.
That would be nice.
Okay.
It's
Depends what
It's
you're
just
going to
nice
say
to-
about me. God knows.
crazy golfer out
okay.
on the beach.
I'll cut out the part when I send it to you, but I'll send it to the rest of the people.
Yeah. So we'll all get a good laugh.
Nice
won't they?
feet. Nice feet.
He has nice feet.
Don't send them the pictures from 30
All
years
the pictures have feet in them.
I've got some good old pictures here too.
So can I just share a story about Debbie so you all know the bottom of the barrel story?
Oh God.
Raise your hand if you know the bottom of the barrel story.
I think I've heard it once or twice. So
I've heard it. I never got it. I don't understand it.
All right, so real quick. So when Debbie brought ASEA called by Cindy Buck, she had prayed the night before for something because she had filed bankruptcy and her house was being foreclosed on, and she was working as a server, 12-hour shifts, Debbie, 7 days a week. And I know Debbie looks like she's 35 years old, but she's not. So even 10 years ago, it was difficult. So
I'm close to Joyce.
so people, when I tell stories, when I'm doing a presentation, people say, "Oh, you're a diamond because you're a doctor and this and that." And I'll say, "You don't have to be a doctor to do this." My dear friend and my sponsor in this, I mean, she's not a doctor. She was it was on the charge up call. I said it. I said,
Well, wait, can
Debbie,
I tell the rest of the story though?
Debbie,
Before
what's
you said that?
the bottom of the barrel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what happened before that. Tyler was having a StratLink technology training for just some special diamonds. So I'd flown into Park City, Utah, and I was sharing a room with the Bucks, and I don't know what happened, but it was David's first charge up call. And Cindy goes, "Oh, let's see how David did on his first charge up call." And so she's playing it out loud because David didn't know this part. And I'm sitting in the bed, they're in their bed, and we're listening. And David's talking about, and just, how great this is and this and that and this and that. And then he starts talking about Debbie, and just take Debbie, for example. She was bottom of the barrel. And Bo looks up and he looks at me and I look at him and I went, "Bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel." And he's laughing harder and harder. So Cindy, they're rolling off the bed. I'm like, "Bottom of the barrel," screaming it. And he's like, "Oh boy, David's in trouble now."
And then I got a message on my answering machine, and it says, "Hey David, this is Bo. Hey, listen, on the charge up call, you said Debbie was the bottom of the barrel. She's really kind of upset about that." And that was a message. So I immediately called her. Well, I have a tendency that if I get an answering machine, very often I don't just not leave a message, but I generally leave a funny message with a voice that doesn't sound like me.
Right. It's creepy.
So well, maybe the next time we do this, we'll play the message, but
Yes.
but
I could play
bottom
all
line
the
is,
messages, then they'd really know you.
I left her a message, and I wasn't thinking what I was going to leave her. It just came into my head, and it goes, she goes, have a purposeful day, and it goes beep, and I go, is this bottom of the barrel Debbie? Yeah, this is cardboard box Willie. You don't know what bottom of the barrel is till you're living in a cardboard box down by the river. Don't you talk to me about being bottom of the barrel. And so that was the message that I left her. It was supposed to be an apology message, but I made it a funny message. So anyway, if you ever hear the bottom of the barrel story, She saved it on her phone. She'll save it for you.
I did. I've saved it for whatever it is, 8 years now.
Yeah.
It's still on my phone.
But
So
hey.
you're lucky if you haven't gotten a message like that, because the first time he ever did that to me, I was sitting in bed. I live alone. I lived alone. It was perfectly dark. It was midnight. It was so creepy. And I listened to this message, and it didn't even, I don't even know, it didn't even say David or something like that, but it was like, hello, I'm watching you. And I just, oh God.
I thought you knew it was me. I mean,
No,
I wouldn't.
I didn't.
I know. I
Your
disguised my
voice
voice too much.
Until the very end, when you kind of cracked, I was like, I am going to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
This is David Silverman for you.
anyway,
Some of the sides you don't always see.
that's what I say. If you're going to send out bios about people, I don't know what you're going to send that about me.
I've got a 5-pager on you, so he'll get some good reading.
Even Paige is giggling about that story. She's like, that's really funny.
Oh,
Tell her it's not that funny.
When you hit diamond, Debbie will play you the rest of the messages I've left. She saved about 6 of them, and some of them are
some of them are
extremely.
bad.
Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige. Aren't you
Wow,
beautiful?
look how beautiful she is.
I know. I haven't seen you.
Thank you.
We saw you as a little kid.
Yeah.
How tall are you now, Paige?
5'10".
Wow.
Yeah, she's not little anymore.
No,
No,
not
it's
at all.
me.
She's beautiful.
Sissy calls me the little big sister.
Yep.
Yeah. Or
So
the big little sister. That's what it is.
Yeah. So Dave and Deb, another time, because we're at our hour, but I just would like to have, as everyone starts to bring people in, I'm finding myself can be overwhelming my new people with sending too much or all the emails that they get. So any tips on when we do get people started, how they don't feel overwhelmed? So that's another time we have our Blitz team call.
No, just ask them, ask questions and say, I need to know because I can, some people want the information fast. They want to move fast. They want to make money. Some people want to build belief in the product first. And I don't want to fire hose you. Some people want it all and some want a little bit. Tell me where you are right now. What do you see? What do you want? And I can get it as fast as you, just so you're asking their permission. The worst is people send an email with 16,000 attachments and the infrastructure is one of them. And 2 months later, they never even looked at it because there was like, well, it was they weren't ready for it yet, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I do. Deb, how about you?
I always schedule a private meeting with them. And I sit down and I ask those questions David talked about. And I kind of lay out, tell me what you want. It's all about them. And how much would you like to make? And so I kind of tell them, like a Mel Sword thing. I have all those papers. Here's what you'd need to do to make 500 extra a month. Here's what you need to have. And then I start helping them make a list. And I'll say, who's the people that you'd really like to work with the most? Who's the easiest person? Like if you call them and tell them about it, they'll sign up because they're, you're the best friend. And I asked them all the influential questions. Who do they have influence over? Who do they admire? All that kind of stuff. I ask them in different ways how to get their list. And then I practice a 3-way phone call with them always, so they can calm down about that, so that they know I'm not going to say, you've got to sign up, all that kind of stuff. And so we practice with their mother or their brother or their sister, somebody not that they don't care about, but they're not trying to get them in their business necessarily. And then I say, your job is to call me. I called my sponsor every single day until I got all my questions answered, until I knew I was doing, because this was a completely different compensation plan than I'd ever seen. And so, and I'll see where you are by how many times you're calling me, because that's your job. So that's what I do with them.
Okay. Thank you.
And then if you start having a team, you could do some trainings together, because that's always fun too. Like I just had my mentor group with my other group on, and we practiced doing 3-ways, and they were the A's. That put them on the spot. And then I want to go over their stories so they don't go into detail about, and bore people to death.
Well, it's the same. It's the same with a prospect after a meeting, a webinar. I mean, if you had someone on the webinar tonight with me, say I'm going to call you right after, because I just want to find out where you're at, and just ask them. So you know where they're at on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your interest in the product? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your interest in the opportunity? And then you know where they're at instead of trying to guess and throw stuff at them.
Right.
You know, that's really. I mean, that's what I find. Otherwise, you just you're throwing
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks, and you can
Yeah.
aggravate them by hitting them too much.
Yeah, and I forget that the company sends out the emails. So I had sent the 2 people who were very focused on the business. And then they're like, wow, there's all these other emails. And I forgot the company sends automated emails.
Well, let me know.
But it's all
Right.
good. It all settled out. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you can find out in a personal meeting. Are you just going to try the product? Because I always meet with people to find out where they are. If you want to just try the product, that's great. I'm going to be following up with you just so you'll know. I'm going to make
Right.
sure that you're getting a good reaction from it. I'm going to make sure you're taking it the right way. I've had some people mix it with oatmeal. You don't want to do that, things like that. Try to make them laugh, because then if they're laughing, they're learning.
and it can't go in their chocolate martini.
And I've had, they said, the last guy I talked to said, can you mix it with anything? I said, I've had people ask me if they could mix it with vodka, and he goes, oh, they should just definitely go to an AA meeting or something. I was like, anyway, yes.
All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to ask or add?
Yeah, I'll add something. I've been avoiding doing something that I know I had to do, that had to do with the duplication process, because I couldn't figure it out, because I'm doing things differently from the way you guys have done it. And so I finally created a checklist, which is talked about everything that you guys are mentioned. How much money do you want to make? How many hours are you going to put in? Another section says, are you ready to get started? How fast do you want to go? I'm ready to start running. Make an appointment with me in 48 hours. Just keep me plugged in. Make an appointment in 7 days. I'm putting it upon them.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put all the Facebook groups in there. I put a different section that had like 4 different training videos, so not to overwhelm them. So I pretty much gave them a checklist for them to decide what they want, what they don't want, for them to take action to let me know, and for them to be able to know where they can get plugged in. And I've been avoiding this for literally a few months for whatever reason. And I just, so that's kind of like, just finished it, just posted it, and it's a work in progress. I'll probably fix it a few times, but I'm finding that you kind of find what your rhythm is, whatever it is that you're doing, and create a checklist. Like, if it was you, what would you like to know? What did you feel good about somebody asking you that kind of connected the dots for you? And create it shouldn't be more than 1 page. From what I learned is that create your own checklist. It should say their username and password, because all of mine keep forgetting it. So I find that I'm like, okay, that has to be the first thing there. The website, username.teamasia.com, the website for the back office, my phone number, David's phone number, the Zoom links, like what is it that you always had to look for that you couldn't really connect with, or you wish you knew? Like, find that 1 page and create that checklist for yourself, and then ask your team, what would you like to see in this, or what do you think might be helpful? Or because what I'm starting to do with my team, nobody ever gets on a call with me. Like, they get on a call with me every week at all different times. Nobody ever gets on the Zoom call with me together. So I'm like, okay, how can I connect with all of them? So I started, every time I talk to them, I'm asking their opinion. How can I make it better for you?
Make sure you put down the associate support number too.
I did that too. Yes,
Okay.
that for sure. Yes. Website, back office, customer, phone number, Monday team meetings, Zoom number. So I like, and then I divided them into a few different sections, like the goals and how much money you're spending, are you running or not, the Facebook.
Well, you also, if you put value on the infrastructure document, because it has my phone number, it has Debbie's phone number. I mean, It's all in one place. And if you want to email it to them and give them a fish, you can say, go to the Freedom Group, and go to files, and you'll find it there, and then they know where it is. But it's
Yeah.
all in one. I try to put as much as I can in that one.
I love it. It is a powerful resource tool. I love it. I have it in my Facebook group. Here's the catch with it. Whenever I give it to them, the next day they forget what it is and where it is, and nobody's ever looked at it. So
that's you're putting value on it, because what I tell people is there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot.
of stuff.
What
And
I
it's
did was
very
I'm
helpful.
trying to put it all into one place, and of all the things, this is the resource document when you say, well, what's associate support's number? Oh, how do I get a hold of David Silverman or Debbie? Or where's the video for doctors? Where's the video, the site with the recordings for animals? It's all about promotion. It's promoting something as being very important that'll save you so much time down the road. That's the key. Otherwise, it gets lost in the documents. It's like, so, but you know what? I always post it there in Word as well as PDF, so you can edit it. You can put you can customize it for your group. You can put your phone number on there, or if there are more people in between, you can customize it. You can put whatever you want on it. It's yours to do it with. But
I actually,
you can also use the ASEA Connect. I actually, through the Zoom with all 4 people, I show them ASEA Connect. I take them straight to their upline. They click, they get everybody's numbers.
Yep.
They love the trainings. All my team found it on their own, and they just go through. They learn how to do the 3-way, the follow-up. I mean, all the trainings are there. I don't have to send them anything, except for I do send David's infrastructure, and I tell them use that as a guidepost. If you want to know, those are links. One person started going through every video, and she got herself overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I said, no, just use it as a resource.
Right.
But they love the ASEA Connect because it's available. It's in one spot. They can find it anytime. And then they saw how they have all your numbers, the whole upline's numbers. So
yep.
I'm a real promoter of ASEA Connect, though. I really like it.
And ASEA Connect's going to get a lot more powerful. I think I mentioned it. It's going to be twice as powerful as it is. It's going to do some incredible things.
Good.
I'll tell you, for people who have been in for a little bit, I do recommend going through your report, your virtual office, and finding people that might be suspended. Do you all know how to do that, to find people that are suspended, so you can call them? There's a report you can run that'll show you their phone numbers and everything. People that are
Not
new, it
all
doesn't.
of them.
Well, it'll show them if they're not terminated.
No, there's a lot in my downline that it doesn't show the numbers for. Depends, I guess, how far down they are from me.
Oh, it might be if there's a diamond in between. You might not get some of the people if there's a diamond in between.
There's a lot. Well, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, here, I'll just show you real quick. So just, and Danielle Matthews found a company thing called Leap Caller, where you can just merge your list and send text to all of the people. It's pretty cool. Let's see, that's the recording from the call tonight. Hold on.
And I'm recording this one, so I'll put it up.
So you go to menu, you go to reports, you go to associate customer search. Get that out of the way. And then, so I'm on the sponsorship tree, which is right. I'm looking up associates, and then I go to saved template, and I scroll down to suspended renewal due, and I click it. Now I've got it on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show them where it is. You have to go down into manage templates.
Yeah. Well, then you can manage template to show what you want in it, in your report. But when I click it, look what comes up. And I set this for levels 1 through 1,000. I mean, it's not the binary tree, it's the personal tree. So it's not like it's that deep.
No, but you should show them how to get to suspended renewed dates. Because unless they've saved that.
Well, this'll show who's about to be suspended. And when you manage templates, you can say, what's the suspension date? It'll tell you week 26 of 2020 or whatever it is. So Yeah, so, and I already clicked show report. I'm not going to go back, but you can click manage plunge. But I'm going to show you what the report looks like if it ever comes up. Surprised it's taken this long. Doesn't usually take this long. There. Okay. So if I look at this, I can see that this is, you look at the first column, level 1, I sponsored him, Byron Miller. He's going to be terminated on week 48 of 2020. I go across. Oh, I don't have his email and phone number, so I don't have everybody. But you can see all the emails and phone numbers here of these people. And what's really cool is if you're a tech person, and I'm learning how to do this tomorrow, there's an app called Leap Caller. Go to leapcaller.com. And Danielle and I shot a video in our mastermind group. And when I get home tomorrow, I'm going to post it. Not much time left, but you can send a group text out. A standard text is like $50 for the month, and I can use, I'll send more emails or text than I can imagine. But you send a text, and you can customize it to say, "Hey, I'm David Silverman. I'm in your SIA support system. You were a customer. I don't know what's going on with you now, but there's a huge promotion happening right now. Hit me back if you're interested in knowing what it is." And she has her verbiage as to what she did, and I'm going to post that. But she's getting responses. Like some people say, take me off your list. They're going to go away anyway. They're about to be suspended and terminated. It doesn't matter. But it's, again, for the new people that are here, it doesn't matter because you don't have anybody that's been in that long. But it is a really cool way to communicate. And what I'm telling you is, I think the reason I got on this conversation is I think that the next generation of SIA Connect, using this company called Verb, V-E-R-B, is probably going to have this kind of capability. But if you are in for a little while and you have a lot of expired people, I mean, you can go through and run the report and just write the numbers down and call them if you want, or send an email. You don't have to use Leap Caller, but it's a way you might, things might have changed in that person's life.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I'm really proud of our team because we just went through that a couple Saturdays ago. So we took the time to go through and we did a screen share and I showed them how to run that report so that they were aware that there's other options because we were looking at all the avenues that you can reach out to people. And so that is one, if anyone ever has questions on how to set up a template, the customer support that we have with this company is unbelievable. This woman sat with me when it first was initiated for 20 minutes, almost 30 minutes, showing me how to save those templates and doing all that. Our customer support is the bomb. I just think they're awesome. So that's where I learned how to do that kind of a report. And so I know David and Debbie are very busy, but if ever you want to know the depth about what that feature is, there's a lot to it. So customer support is another option.
And sometimes you'll get somebody that's really good there that is very familiar with it, and sometimes you may not, right? By the way,
I guess I was fortunate then.
Yeah, and there's a whole, I don't know if you have seen, but I called the company actually. Debbie and I were on our mastermind call, and we said, why don't they have these tutorials in one place? And I called, and that day or that night, they did it. So if you go to tutorials on the back office, go to resources, library, and then you'll see, where is it? There's a whole section on it. VO training series. You see that? Associate search report training. These are all things to teach you how to do it. So if you don't get the answer there, then definitely call the company. All right, I'm shot. I got to be honest, I'm shot.
Me too. 5 o'clock comes fast.
Right. Thank you.
I'm sure you need a drink, David. Go have a drink.
I need my bed.
Oh, you need your bed. Oh, okay.
I'm driving back.
It is
back
10:21
home tomorrow
there.
morning after our Zoom. So
You're driving
congratulations.
back home?
Back to Bethesda.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you know, whatever you're doing now, we can hear you. I don't know where that microphone is, but we can hear you
Is that
now.
right? Is that strange? It's like sitting off here to the side. When I'm closer, it's worse. Is it worse now?
No, I can't hear you at all, hardly.
Oh, you can't hear me.
You should return that thing, David.
Oh, what was that? That was loud.
That was Steve Attard.
Isn't that funny?
That's why. Okay.
Hear that thing.
Funny how Jeanette,
Wasn't David.
Jeanette can hear me, but you can't. Weird.
It's still not that loud.
We can hear you, but you're not very loud.
No. And you were saying things we really wanted to hear, so that made it hard.
I never say
That's a
anything.
new.
I know, we never say anything we want to hear. Yeah.
If the stuff's perverted anyway.
Hey,
All right.
all right. Thanks, everybody. Debbie, thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
going to say
absolutely.
good night, too. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Congrats.
Good night.
Thank you.
Hi, David.